how are you going to go on and start a new trunk with all the junk emptied out of it? You can't do it.
No, you really can't. And that's a good point, because I think when you know, even in society, I think if you're still hanging around with the same old group that's doing wrong, you can't change. You're going to continue to do the things that you were doing that got you in trouble earlier. You can still do those same old things, and you're going to wind up back in prison again, more than likely. That's what happened to Benny.
Because you go to the same group.
Right.
You don't get yourself away from it, you know. You stick right back to your buddies.
You go right back to the buddies. And, you know, one of my characters is Butch is his name.
Yeah.
And I chose Butch because that's supposed to signify a rough, tough guy. But in the end of the book, you'll see that he wasn't as tough as he made out to be.
Right.
You know, he was really soft. Because once he was arrested, he gave information to the police to, you know, as to who was committing the crimes in the neighborhood.
What do they call somebody like that?
He was really a snitch at the end.
Right, a snitch.
He was a snitch. But he wanted his buddies, Leroy and Benny and everyone else, to believe that he was a tough guy.
Right.
But once the police locked him up and they got him down to the precinct, you could see that he really wasn't as tough as he thought he was. He was willing to give up information, trying to save his own hide.
Save yourself, yeah.
Right. And, you know, I try to also show in the book that, you know, when you're out, what happens is several things happen. Like Benny, he made a promise to himself that he would never use heroin.
Exactly.
But still, he got involved with heroin. Why? Because his buddies, Leroy was one of his main friends, he got him involved in it.
Right.
Because Leroy is a heroin seller in the book. And the only thing Leroy is thinking about is getting more customers.
Yeah.
And he knows that once you buy his heroin and use his heroin,
you're going to come back.
You're going to come back to him. So what that does is, that's money in his pocket.
Yeah.
So he wanted everyone to get involved in heroin, even his main buddy, Benny. This is someone that he they practically grew up together, but still he wanted Benny to become a heroin addict.
So he wasn't his friend.
He really wasn't. But a lot of times, you know, we think that people are our friend.
Yeah.
But really, they're doing things, you know, to really advance themselves.
You only think of yourself.
Right. You only think. The same way with his girlfriend. His girlfriend, Benny's girlfriend, is Juicy.
Oh.
Juicy.
Juicy was juicy, I tell you, boy.
Right. But I wanted to use characters like that just to show people that how easy it is to get involved in not only drugs but crime. Mainly if your parents brought you up the right way. They're constantly telling you to stay away from drugs, constantly telling you not to get involved in wrongdoing.
Finish school.
Finish school.
Get an education.
Very important.
And I don't know why, but I don't know if you ever watch Maury Povich, but I do sometime. And there can be young girls bringing on 9 and 10 men. Who's my baby's daddy?
Exactly.
9 and 10. Have you seen the show?
Yes,
I don't watch it that much anymore.
Right.
But it just makes me feel so sad because these girls have got potential.
Right.
You can look in their eyes. They're not stupid.
Yeah, but what happened is like one of my characters, Juicy, Benny's girlfriend.
Right.
When you read about her, what happened? She started dating a guy much older than her.
Yes.
And he enticed her to use drugs.
Yeah, because that's how you get control. That's
he had control of her.
He had control of her like that.
Now he was in control of her, but he went to jail at some point during the story.
That's good.
Right, and she got her life straightened out for a minute anyway, for a short period. But she was still working to get Benny involved in drugs, because if you read the story, you'll see that she kind of enticed him to try heroin. Look, baby, it's okay. You can try it. Just try it one time.
You're not going to get hooked.
You're not going to get hooked. If you don't like it, just don't do it again.
Just don't do it. Yep.
Right, but that theory just didn't work because he did try it, and obviously he liked it, and he started, buying it constantly.
Several of my friends asked me to ask you this. Do you believe that there are children who are born that are called bad seeds?
You know what, I'm really not an expert on the subject, but this is my take on it. I think that a lot of times, your environment can enhance the possibility of the person becoming a bad person.
Let's say you've got 5 kids in the family.
Right.
And they're all going to college and doing good, and there's just one little guy, you wonder, is he a bad seed? I don't think there is a bad seed.
Honestly, I don't know, but I wouldn't like to believe that. I think that a lot of times
I wouldn't like to believe it either. My husband says that's what happens, you got a bad seed. And I said, no.
No,
I don't believe that.
No, I think that you can I think that you can hang out with the wrong people or the wrong person, and they can have a little influence over you. Of course. And sway you or persuade you to do wrong or make bad choices.
Yeah.
Right.
What I think too is about this, you have a brain of your own.
Exactly.
You have a mind of your own,
Right.
and you only come here one time.
Right.
And you've got to do the most of it when you get here.
Well, you know, my mother, well, both my parents are deceased, but when I was a child and all the way up to adulthood, my parents used to always constantly tell me, not only me, but my siblings, about doing the right things in life.
Yeah.
And sometimes it seemed like they were repeating themselves, but what they were doing was they were making sure the message
Stayed in your head.
stayed in my head. So when I came up against a situation, I always had a lot of information in my mind.
Can't you hear their voices talking to you?
You could hear their voices.
Yeah,
And I
you
said,
could
you
hear
know
their
what? I remember
voices.
my mother said that, or my father
Yes,
said that. So,
yes.
you know, you think about it. Because I never wanted to do anything to hurt my parents.
Of course.
Because I love my parents.
Of course.
And Benny, I think if people were to think twice before they do something, if you just merely think, would I want my parents to suffer because of a bad choice I made?
Right.
I think they would not do the things they do. I think that people who are out there doing the wrong thing, they think that, 'cause I've heard some people say, I'm only hurting myself.
Yeah.
No, you're not just hurting, you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting everyone that loves you. Your mother, your father, your siblings, your grandparents.
Grandparents are hurt so
Right.
much lately. They are.
And society as a whole. But you're hurting a lot of people that care dearly about you. So think about that. If you think you're only hurting yourself, think again. You're not just hurting yourself.
No.
You're hurting a lot of people who really, really care about you.
But I think sometimes, though, too, that when you're in a lot of pain and you need something, you don't really stop to think, other than just yourself. This is going to make me feel good, so it's going to hurt the family. I'm sorry. I can look out for myself.
Right, but I think if you make good choices from the very beginning,
Yes,
you won't
yes.
find yourself in that situation.
Right.
Where if you got to make bad choices early on in life, well, now you have a dependency. If you're talking about drugs, if you're on heroin or crack cocaine,
Alcohol, too, don't you
alcohol
think?
too.
Yeah.
Well, you got a dependency now, and you probably need you need professional help
Right.
to wean yourself off whatever you're addicted to. But if you don't get started from the beginning, you will not have that problem.
Well, my mom was an alcoholic. So growing up in alcoholism was really very tough to see her do that, because she died at 51 with cirrhosis, and I think she had pancreatic cancer from all the alcohol. But I was the one in the house that became the soldier. I called myself the soldier.
Right.
I made sure there was food there. I'd run home from school and do the dishes from the night before, and she would always hit me and put me down. You're nothing, you're a nobody.
Oh, God. And
I proved that that's not true.
right, and now you proved it in many ways
Yes.
because you were the one. I mean, all the responsibilities were on you.
It was on my shoulders.
Right, and you stood up to the test.
I
You
took
were-
the job and I did a good
You
one.
did a good job. So
Yeah.
you're really to be commemorated for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, because you could have easily,
I
walked
could have
away
took the
from it.
streets, couldn't I? I could have gone on the streets.
Yeah. So
But I was responsible.
right, and that's a good thing. And we need more
Sometimes I don't
people
know
like
about
you.
that because I am just so responsible.
Right.
Every time anybody wants to do anything to do, I'm right there for them. I'm right there. And another thing too, I'll tell you, you must keep your word because your word is who you are.
Well, I like to tell people this as you talk about responsibility, and this is a speech that Kennedy made back during his presidency.
I
And
like
I'll
him.
never forget this speech that he made. And he said that, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Exactly.
And those words stayed with me for a long time. And when I became of age to go in the military, I joined the military. And I used to have buddies say, why are you joining the Army now?
don't have to go.
You don't have to go.
Yeah.
It's doing Vietnam. But I felt like I wanted to do something. I wanted to make a difference. I
You
wanted
wanted
to
to
do
make a
something for the
difference.
country. And I honestly felt that way. So I joined the military during the time of Vietnam and didn't mind going to Vietnam. I went to Vietnam with no questions, because I felt like I wanted to do something. And the
Right.
same way with when I joined the police department. I thought I wanted to do something, maybe try to help someone. I always thought that I wanted to be responsible, go out there, try to
Yes.
do something for the betterment of people. And that's
Doesn't
what I
that
did.
make you tired sometimes?
You know what? Not really, because I felt the same way when I wrote this book. I felt so passionate about it. When I was writing this book, I had a lot of joy in my body because I thought that I was writing something that would help someone. I thought I was writing
you
something
only
that would
helped
help
one
someone.
person,
One
that's all that
person.
matters.
Because when I was on the police department, I used to, go to the scenes of shootings.
Oh, yeah.
Because my last several years on the police department, I was a detective, and I spent it as the midnight detective. And I used to go on the scenes of shootings, and a lot of times it'd be young men or young people who've been shot.
Right.
And
Didn't I just tear you up inside, though?